Hey everybody, Mr. Youngman here. Today we're going to be taking a very quick look at the Get a Job assignment on Google Classroom. We're going to go ahead and get started by opening our worksheet linked at the bottom of the page in order to get to our worksheet. So for this assignment, we're going to be exploring two different jobs, two different careers that you might be interested in. The first one is going to be something directly related to the type of work that we do inside of our classroom, anything in the media arts domain. And I do have a list of a bunch of different types of jobs that you might be interested in and that I would say we should use for our search in that media arts realm. The second job that we're going to be looking for is going to be something that's a free choice. So it can be another one from the list here, or it can be just something that you are really interested in. Maybe you want to be a chef, maybe you want to be a nurse. There's a bunch of different great careers out there, and I'd love to see what you're interested in. For the part of the assignment that is directly related to what we do in class, though, I'm going to start off with photographer. So just going back to that Google Classroom assignment, using that second link this time, it'll take us to the Google Job Search function. If I go to the search bar at the top here and search for photographer and just press enter or return on my keyboard, you'll see that it shows us some local job postings for photographers. Now I want to broaden our horizons, so let's go to location at the top and select anywhere. This will include search results not just local to Kentucky, not just local to Louisville, but across the United States. I'm going to scroll down until I see one that I think is interesting, and I'm going to maybe go with this photographer with the Obama Foundation for my first job pick. So the first part of the worksheet here is asking what is the job title of the job that you found. Well, if we go back to that listing, we can see that is a photographer. And I'm going to think ahead a little bit and see that this is with the Obama Foundation. Going back to our worksheet, the first question is asking what is the job title. So I will search for or type in photographer. And what is the name of the company that posted the job? This is going to be the Obama Foundation for the one that I found. Now, this next bit is going to take a little bit of critical thinking and analysis. Summarize what you would have to do at this job in exactly 10 words. If I go back to that job listing, just kind of glancing through some of the responsibilities listed on the right here, I'm going to point out some important details that I notice. So first, I see that we're providing archival and editorial quality digital photography, and that is with the Obama Presidential Center Museum. So that is a very important context clue that we're going to be working at a museum. Second, we're going to need to be collaborating with diverse range of internal stakeholders and the collections manager. So working in a team, working and collaborating is going to be very important. And third, provide digital photography and imaging services, including artifact photography, in keeping with cultural heritage best practices and in-house requirements. So working with artifacts at a museum is going to be very instrumental to what we're doing for this job. So in my summary here, it does need to be exactly 10 words, no less than 10, no more than 10. So let's see what I can come up with here using that knowledge that we've gleaned from reading the responsibilities. So this is what I've come up with here. Let's see if it's 10 words. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it looks like I need a little bit more. So how about we do and exhibits. So here's what I've got. Take pictures of museum artifacts and exhibits, comma, collaborate with peers. And again, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 words exactly, no more and no less. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next section, job location. In which state is this job located? And in what city is this job located? If we go back to the job posting, near the top here, we should see that this one is in Chicago, Illinois, IL. So we can write IL for Illinois in our state, and the city is Chicago. Now we're going to go to a third website here using this link that I've included in the question. We'll go to this living wage calculator, and this is a really useful tool for figuring out how much it's going to cost to live in a certain area. So we know that the job we were just looking at is in Illinois. And if I scroll all the way down to the bottom, I'll see major cities. And I know this one is in Chicago. But I do want to make a really quick note. If you don't know exactly where the job is that you're looking at, it's perfectly okay to just use this button at the top. This is show results for Illinois as a whole. The state that you're searching for is going to be different from mine, but just hit show results for the state as a whole, and that will still get you the information you need. It is going to be a little bit better to use the more specific one for Chicago in my case. So if you can find the actual city, that is great, and that will be a little bit more useful to you. When we're looking at this chart, we're going to be looking at 1 adult, 0 children, because we're assuming that we're very early in our career. These things might come up later on in life, but for now, we'll do 1 adult and 0 children. The living wage is $18.72 an hour for Chicago, Illinois. So I'm going to go back to my worksheet, and we're just going to write down that $18.72 per hour that we saw on the living wage website. For the next section, we're going to be doing, is this job full-time, part-time, or freelance? That information can be found at the top of the job posting. So right here it says full-time. We'll go ahead and write that down, full-time. And next, this is an important question. How much does this job pay? Well, if I go back to the post, I've carefully looked through this a few times, and unfortunately, this one does not list how much money you will be making. This is something that's fairly common inside of job postings, unfortunately, so we'll just have to work around it. If we scroll all the way down to the bottom here, we can see that there is this Glassdoor area that says typical pay for this type of work, and this is a really useful place to be looking. This says $47,000 to $80,000 per year. We're going to go on the low end of that range and say $50,000 per year. So just gonna go ahead, $50,000 per year. Now we have a little bit of a problem here. When we say that this job is $50,000 per year, and we know that we need to make $18.72 per hour in Chicago to have a decent living wage, these two numbers are using different units. Well, this is okay. This is something that's pretty easy to work around. We're just going to look at the two numbers in front of the comma. So in this case, 50, and we're just going to cut that in half. So instead of 50, we'll say 25, and that converts to roughly $25 an hour. So it is really useful to have this conversion in here. I would like to see this in an hourly rate. So if you find your salary listed per year, you will need to convert it to your hourly rate. Now we can see that $25 an hour is better than $18.72 an hour. So you'll be living okay in Chicago if you were to take this job. We're going to scroll down just a little bit more here to the job interest section. Now this is where I want to hear about if this is a job you would actually want to have based on the job responsibilities and based on the environment and the pay. So is this a job that you would want to have? In my case, no, I don't want to be working as a museum photographer. And in the next section, you're going to explain why. In this case, give me just a moment to write down my thoughts. Oops. So my rationale for why I don't want to be working in a museum or in this job is because I don't want to be working in a museum environment. That's going to be very quiet, and I like to have a little bit more motion and a little bit more noise. I don't really have a problem with the job responsibilities that were listed, so for me it's more about the environment, but that's going to be kind of entirely up to you personally. Other factors, of course, could be it doesn't pay enough, or it just is an area of the country where you don't want to live. So there's all sorts of different reasons why you might want a job or why you might not want a job that we found listed here. For the second section of the assignment, job number 2, this is where you're able to write about any career, any job that you are personally interested in. So that's going to use the same exact questions that we saw in the section 1 here, talking about job 1. So just refer back to those questions, those parts of the video if you need it. But otherwise, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all back in class. Bye now.